6:30, we call the meeting to order.
Okay.
We do have a quorum with Mandy Bronzell being absent. She's out having fun on a boat someplace. Welcome, everybody, and we will open our meeting with a moment of silence that you can observe as you feel appropriate. Thank you. Now, if you'd stand and join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And understand we have a lot of introductions this evening, Dr. Randall.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. We have quite a number of new faces in Lamar CISD.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I'd like to introduce you to, she's right here, Sarah Ballard. Sarah is joined tonight by her parents, Susan and Scott, and husband, Garrett. If you'd stand for us. Sarah is a May 2010 graduate of the University of Houston with a bachelor's degree in elementary education. She received her master's in 2017 in educational leadership from Lamar University. She has 8 years of teaching experience and is the new assistant principal at Bentley Elementary. Congratulations. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Quantus Floyd. Quantus is joined tonight by his wife, Gabrielle, and daughter, Alexandria. Quantus is an August 2000 graduate of Texas Southern University with a bachelor's degree in mathematics. He received his master's in 2015 in curriculum and instruction from Texas Southern. He has 12 years of teaching experience. He is the new assistant principal at George Junior High. Congratulations. Next, I would like to introduce you to Ms. Shauna Jennings. She is joined tonight by her husband, Justin, and their son, Henry. Shauna is an August 2000 graduate from Texas A&M University with a bachelor's degree in business administration. In 2006, she received her master's degree in educational leadership from the University of Texas, San Antonio. She has 16 years of teaching experience in South San Antonio, Houston ISD, and Fort Bend ISD. She is the newest assistant principal at George Ranch High School. Congratulations.
Runners the mess of it.
Next, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Terry Mossage. She is a May 2003 graduate from Texas Christian University with a bachelor's degree in physical education. That's Texas Wesleyan, I'm sorry. Texas Wesleyan University with a bachelor's degree in physical education. In 2003, she received her master's degree in educational administration from Texas Christian. She received her educational leadership doctorate in 2013 from TCU as well. She has 8 years of teaching experience and 12 years of administrative experience and is the new assistant superintendent for secondary education.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Good seeing you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rachel Patterson is joined tonight by her husband, Michael, her father, James, her mom, Edna, and her children, Michael, Maya, and Dante. You guys can stand?
No. Want to see you.
Rachel is a May 2002 graduate of Texas Southern University with a bachelor's degree in business administration. She received a master's degree in 2008 in curriculum and instruction from Grand Canyon University. She has 13 years of experience in education, including 10 years as a teacher and 3 years as an elementary reading specialist. And she is the new assistant principal at Hutchison. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Lindsay Sanders is a May 2012 graduate of Baylor University with a bachelor's degree in journalism. She has 2 years of experience as a communications specialist, 2 years as a senior communications specialist, and 2 years as a communications coordinator. She is the new Director in Community Relations. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations.
I want to make sure. Lacey Krausen is joined tonight by her husband, Chris. Lacey is a November 2006 graduate of Houston Baptist University with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. She received a master's in 2017 in educational administration from Lamar University. She has 12 years of experience in education, including 7 years teaching and 5 years as a 21st century after-school program coordinator. She's the new assistant principal at Arredondo Elementary. Congratulations. And our final introduction tonight is Tracy Williams, who is joined tonight by her husband, Tim, and son, Timothy. Tracy is a May 2011 graduate of the University of Texas Arlington with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies. She received a master's in 2015 in liberal arts from Texas Christian University. In addition to 15 years of experience as an administrative yeoman chief with the U.S. Navy Reserves, Ms. Williams has 3 years of teaching experience and 1 year as an assistant principal. And she is the new assistant principal at Fulshire High School.
And you're in the right team too. Congratulations. That was so good. So many. Wow.
Young and exciting.
Yeah.
That's so neat, though.
It's great to see all of them join the district.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, audience patrons.
Yes, Mr. President, we are now at the portion of the meeting. The board allots time to hear persons who desire to make comment to the board. Persons who wish to speak to the board must sign up to do so as they arrive, and they must indicate the topic about which they wish to speak. No presentation shall exceed 5 minutes. Delegations of more than 5 persons shall appoint 1 person to present their views. The board will hear the concerns, but the board cannot deliberate, discuss, or make a decision on any subject that is not posted on the agenda. Persons who speak to the board cannot complain about a district officer or employee in open session. Such concerns are heard in closed session after proper posting of the agenda item has occurred. As you come forward, please state your name and your address. Our speaker is Tony Hopkins.
Thank you, Board and Superintendent Randall. First off, I just want to say congratulations on being named Board of the Year. I'm Tony Hopkins, 2001 Sparrow Circle in Friendswood, Texas. I'm on the Friendswood ISD Board. Back in March, I was appointed to the TASB Board of Directors for position 4C. And what I'm doing is I'm going around just visiting various boards that I don't know quite as well. And I'm realizing how large of a Region 4 is in doing that. One thing I will say is I learned something new in every district, and I'm going to steal what y'all just did, because I love the way y'all did the introductions. We always kind of get them lost in the middle. So I thought that was my one learning for today, was y'all do that very well, and we may be copying you pretty soon. The other thing I would like to do is if you happen to venture to Friendswood, I think it's October 12th or November 2nd, when Friendswood plays Terry and Foster, please come to the press box, visit me, and you can have dinner before the game. I'll be the one doing the talking that night, as I have done for the last 25 years. For the last 10 years, I've been on the board of Friendswood ISD. I went through the Leadership TASB program in 2014, and this year I really realized that we've always made advocacy something that we did directly with our legislators. Well, we've figured out that wasn't enough, and so I decided in December, having never run for the TASB board before, unlike some of the other people that ran, to run. I was fortunate enough to be named to the board, and I decided we need to expand our universe, and I wanted to lend my voice not just to our region but to our state. The other thing that I had noticed is currently all of the board members of the TASB board from Region 4 are from districts 45,000 and above. And so I thought it would be nice to have somebody that's a little bit smaller than that on the TASB board. one of the things I've committed to is if I get appointed to a 3-year term is I actually want to try to visit all 48 districts, and by the end of August I'll actually, I think, be up to 15. So I've been picking one a month, but August is getting to be a busy time. My ask from you tonight, I know it's not on the agenda tonight, but it's a regular meeting in August. I would ask that you put endorsement of TASB directors on your agenda and ask for your endorsement for position 4C. What happens is if the region doesn't decide, then it's left up to the state. And I think the region probably can speak better for who they want than a 3-minute speech at a state convention. So with that, I hope you'll endorse me, put it on the agenda, and then I left my business card in front of all of your seats. The other thing I would ask is, if I am appointed, call me, because I want to get feedback. I'm getting really interesting feedback from the very different districts when you're talking to Hardin ISD versus Texas City ISD versus Friendswood versus Lamar Consolidated. There's a lot of different issues. And I want to make sure everybody has a voice and is heard. So anything TASB can do differently, anything they can advocate for, please reach out, and I hope I can have your endorsement. I hope you all have a great meeting, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Oh, one other thing. Thank you for the reunion. I got to see 2 of our former employees.
Thank you.
And we've got them now, and we're not giving them back.
They won't come back.
That's all, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll open the public hearing on proposed application for optional flexible school day program 641. You understand we have a presentation?
Hope we put it to work. Good for you.
First, I want to say again, congratulations for your Region Board of the Year. That is a great testament to the school district, and just want to express my gratefulness for being a board. I am truly grateful for this opportunity. Board and Dr. Randall, tonight, both Mr. Donnell, Randy, and I will be doing a joint presentation here on the 1621 program, the night school portion that you find in your board packet. This was, as we look at, a joint effort of 1621 and all 5 comprehensive high schools. So all 5 comprehensive high schools feed into the 1621 program. Mr. Donnell, do you want to talk about the program goals?
Well, the program goals are basically, it's originally started as a dropout recovery program. That is still its main frame. Dr. Mostad, our truancy officer, goes out and looks for students who have dropped out. We give them the opportunity to come to 1621, especially since many of them are over age or have become parents themselves or having to work full time during the day. So we provide them with a quality education. We use a computer-based program called Edgenuity, and they work on that online, and it covers everything for every subjects that we have, so they can get a full regular diploma. For that, we do sex, so we have students with instruction skills. We get them ready for post-secondary, whether that be Warren County Junior College or even go into a 4-year school.
Some program statistics from 2017-2018. We served 54 students, and 20 of those students graduated. A total of 270 graduates in the past 10 years of operation. You will see a highlight where it did drop from the 30 to 20. There was a transition in the software in which was utilized from Compass to Ingenuity, but the 5-year average of this program is 33 kids graduating per year with a 3-year average of 29 at this time. So we feel very confident in the success of this program and continuing of moving the number of graduates up who have access to this program. Would you want to add anything with
Another
that,
reason
Randy?
that numbers are down, 2 things. We actually went out after higher risk students. So we took on a larger challenge, plus Edgenuity is a much more rigorous computer program than the former one was. And due to that, we've also then seen a higher success rate of our students passing their EOCs, where before it wasn't as high and we were having to do extra tutoring. With Edgenuity, we're not having to do that.
Truly a program that does provide another opportunity for kids that sometimes are not successful in traditional high schools, particularly providing a night school environment from the 4:30 to, I believe, 8:30.
Right.
Provides, I think, the 3rd opportunity for us to serve kids of Lamar CISD. Do you have any questions for us at this time?
Any questions from the board?
I do.
Yes.
I've been aware of this program for a few years, but in the last 10 years, according to the paper, it was 200 students graduated. It says 270.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am, correct.
But about
Approximately.
between 200 and 270.
Yes,
Do you have a goal, like right now, you said you have a new program, so the graduates dropped. What is your anticipation? How many do you expect to graduate? What is your goal?
Our goal is to get to where we're back to where we were in the 30s and 40s. What we also do with some of our kids, 1621, it has 3 actual sessions, as we call them. We have 8 to 12, 12:30 to 3:30, and then this one goes 4:30 to 8:30. And so our goal is to keep going after the at-risk kids, but again, try to do everything we can to get them moving faster. And so we started knocking on doors, things of that nature, to get them to come, because part of what the flexible program is, it's not your normal attendance. So where every day you have to take attendance, we don't get penalized if they don't come to school a certain day, where maybe you would at a regular campus. But our goal is actually to turn 1621 into a real alternative high school. And in fact, in the bond, it was passed that when we do rebuild ALC, we're actually going to move 1621 out of the strip center it is and put it in its own building over on the ALC campus, still separate from ALC, a separate program. But our goal is to turn it into a real high school, to become more comprehensive, and it's still, our goal would be to go after the at-risk students, and then with addition of staff, hint, Dr. Randall, we would then turn around and be able to handle more students. Because we are limited due to space where we are, is how many students we can bring in.
Okay.
Oh,
So
so there is a limit then.
there is
That
a
was
limit.
what I mean, my
Yeah,
question.
physically there's a limit of how many we can bring in.
So what
Due
is,
to space and staffing.
So our limit right now is 45 students for each session. Our goal would get up to 100 to 150 per session.
And what is the biggest motivator for some of these kids whose doors you are knocking on for them to participate?
Their biggest motivator is they can do to go to post-secondary or get a better job. Part of what we do, all our college facilitators for the high schools actually come to 1621 and meet with those kids just like they do at a regular campus. So they're showing them how to get their scholarship money, showing what they qualify for, making sure that they are ready to go either to Borton County or any other 2-year type program, or again, we have several that do go to 4-year, or many go to the military also for that.
Just because they're taking TSI. Did
Yes.
they start that this
Oh, yeah.
year?
Oh, yes.
The kids began testing on TSI
In
to
fact, we became
admittance
a
to junior
TSI
college.
center, so on Saturdays, at least once a month, we would cover the whole district for those kids who weren't getting tested for whatever reason on the regular
Can you
campus.
tell me what TSI is?
Texas Success Initiative, the exam for, I believe it's not Texas Success Initiative, it's
Yeah, but
Texas Success. Yes?
it is the qualifying exam for junior colleges.
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
those types of-
And helps
State
with
of
college
Texas,
readiness.
any junior
college
college, or if they
Okay.
take dual credit classes, they have to pass that exam before admittance to be allowed to take those dual credit and or go into a certification program. And so I know that the counselors, we talked about that, had been working with them, and they opened up Saturday sessions for those kids to begin taking that, to hopefully also hook them into some type of career certification if they choose to, and or the potential of college admittance as well.
are they still responsible to take the testing like they do in the regular?
Yes, ma'am, they have
high
to
school?
take all 5 EOCs.
Yes.
They get a regular diploma from their high school. They're not enrolled with
Right.
1621. They're enrolled at Terry,
Right.
Lamar, Foster, George Ranch, Fulshear.
Catherine, you have any questions?
Yeah, I have what about the ones that, now out of those 54 students, you've got some freshmen, sophomore, correct?
Mainly juniors and seniors, but
Juniors and
yes, we do
seniors?
have some freshmen and sophomores because for whatever their life circumstance, regular schooling doesn't work. They can't do that 8 to 3:30 type scenario, so they come to us. We're able to work with them. We actually will go to employers if we need to help them with their scheduling so they can attend school more. We kind of sometimes strong arm some of the local areas because we want to make sure that they know we want graduates. Because then instead of just say being at a low-level job, they can be either managerial or even go higher at that point.
Okay, then I have one more. The ones that actually do not graduate, do y'all try to get them to get their GED?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Traditionally, we have connections with Wharton County, who does offer the GED, and so we work with them extensively to what students get them over. Our Edgenuity has a GED prep course, so we can actually get them involved in that. They can actually work on that from home, and so then get them over to Wharton, get them signed up. Wharton has them take pre-test classes, and then once they're ready, they take their tests. And our success rate is pretty high on those kids.
I was going to ask.
Yes, ma'am.
How your success rate was. Okay.
Does the program include any kind of postgraduate, review of these kids, of what they're doing after they've left the program?
Only what we do even right now with our current campuses is where we keep up with that. Our students come back. For our kids, we built a strong relationship with them because we are so much smaller, and so they're always coming back and letting us know what's going on, or they're looking for references or anything of that nature to help them.
But there's no documentation as
No,
far
ma'am.
as
There's
how
no
successful have they been?
No, ma'am.
The ones that come in at freshman and sophomore, do they stay on with you pretty well, or do they go back
We do
to the
everything
high
in
school?
our power not to allow them. What usually happens, though, for many of those, we get them back on track, we get them caught up, and then they return back to their home campus because they want that experience.
Good.
Something happened to interrupt them. We've tried to take care of that, take care of the gap, catch them back up, and so then they can return and see what high school is all about.
Good.
Since this is a public hearing, do we have any questions or comments from the public? Yes, ma'am.
What's the oldest student that you have?
The oldest we've had is 23, but under the law we can take them up to 26. But the oldest we've ever had is 23 years old. You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. Again, this is another one of those unheralded programs. It's so important to catch these kids that will drop through the cracks. So we really appreciate your work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Like it that we have
I'd
another.
just like to make, the only comment I'd like to make is that with that program, that we get some reports on this, because I don't think we hear about it throughout the year.
We can do that, yes, ma'am.
You know, maybe halfway through, just give us your numbers
First
and
semester.
how things are going,
Yes, ma'am.
because we don't have any contact yet.
With that, we'll close the public hearing at 6:52. Thank you. We just have a few items on the agenda tonight. The first item happens to be the approval of the approval for renewal of an optional flexible school day program. Could I have a motion to approve that, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second to that?
I'll second.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Now we'll move on to the budget.
That looks lime green up there. Good
Oh, it
evening.
does.
This is our budget workshop number 2 for the 2018-19 school year. It's going to be more of an update than anything else. We'll talk about the 3 funds that you all are required to adopt an official budget for, and then talk about the truth and taxation requirements. This evening we'll need to vote on the date of the meeting that you'll vote on the budget, and then also vote on the rate that we'll publish in the notice that'll come out in the paper this weekend. All right, we'll start with the general fund and the revenue section. The total revenue budget is $283.763 million at this point. Local revenues being 60.6% of that. That includes all of our property taxes, penalty and interest, tuition, all those types of things. State revenues are at 37.7% of the budget at roughly $107 million. And then federal revenues are at $4.925 million and just under 2% of the local budget. Property taxes were certified this month on June 25th, and unfortunately our growth this year was 3.65%, whereas last year it was right at 5.5% and a lot higher in preceding years. What I'm thinking, a lot of the reason for that is going to be the reappraisal of values that we did as a result of Hurricane Harvey. Those properties have not rebounded yet, so we're still seeing some of that loss.
Some of our top 10 taxpayers lost significant value this year. Significant to them, but not significant to the total. Let's see, there's been a slowing of economic growth. I spoke with our chief appraiser this afternoon, and he seems to think that, number one, there's a lot of restoration going on because of the hurricane instead of new construction, and that's taken some of the labor and that type of thing away from the other growth we would have normally seen, and also the impact of tariffs, that right now are also slowing construction. So we still have a small amount of value that's still under protest and under review by the ARB, 106.72 million, and about 5,500 accounts. Net taxable values total $14.359 billion. We actually use a little less than that for budgeting. Current year taxes are estimated at $165.874 million. A certification, as I said before, happened on July 25th. We're estimating delinquent tax collections at $1.6 million and penalty and interest at $900,000. So total taxes are roughly $168.4 million. And I always show you the calculation side by side. Last year's taxable value was roughly $13.8 billion. This year it's $14.354 roughly. You'll see that on the right-hand column we're using $1.06 for the local rate versus the 1.04005 that we used in the current year. That's because we're planning to take advantage of the 2-cent increase that we can do for 1 year due to the being located in a disaster zone. So we're raising 2 cents in the M&O rate and lowering the INS rate by 2 cents. So the tax rate's going to be flat. Actually, it's not, and actually it's not flat. It's actually decreased by the 0.00005. So we actually have a decrease. Funny enough.
The increase to decrease.
Yes. Anyway, okay, so our summary of revenues, the largest category, of course, is property taxes at a little over $168 million, and state aid at $94 million. TRS, Care on Behalf, is also a large $13 million, but that's really a paper entry, and it's there's a like expenditure of $13 million. You'll see down there, out of fund balance we'll transfer $3.129 million, and that's that 2 cents that we're raising pretty much in the M&O side and transferring it. But we have to do it out of fund balance, so good thing we have fund balance. Okay, so the net revenue decrease between the last meeting and this one is roughly $2.3 million, with 1.58 million of that being from the loss in certified values, and already talked about the next couple bullets, and then reductions in state aid. We lost tier 2 money because we lost value and tax effort. We get some money from the new instructional facilities allotment, which is what NIFA stands for. And that's related to opening new schools and support for that. It's my understanding that the legislature's allocation of funds is not going to meet the needs of all the school districts that are eligible for NIFA funding, so there's going to be a proration. So instead of the $1,000 per unit that we should get, right now they're estimating it might be $215 instead. So we don't know the number yet, but that's another loss.
All good news today.
And that's $500,000, just like that. Okay, so on the expenditure side, I'm going to start with, and you'll notice actually I'm going to start calling this our investment in student success instead of expenditures.
There you go.
We have payroll costs, which includes benefits, at $238 million of the $283 roughly million total. What we've done in order to get closer to balancing is mainly cut out some of the growth positions, increased our allowance for attrition, which is an amount, it's really an estimate of the money we will return to the budget due to people being hired later and working less than a year or leaving before the end of a year. So it's partial year employees, basically. And then we had a list of position requests that were in the previous budget. We reduced those. And then there's some positions we won't hire until mid-year that we can reduce by another $1 million. We are continuing to look at personnel budgets and actually all line item budgets between now and August the 16th. So this is still an estimate. This slide really has only changed in the salary. Your big ticket items are all still the same other than the salaries because of the reductions I just mentioned, but the salaries alone are still at $195.669 million, and they do include a 2% average raise for teachers and for every non-teaching or non-teacher salary schedule employees. About $2 million of that is for teacher and teacher salary schedule positions, and the other $1 million is for the midpoint tables. Okay, so at this point we're still down roughly $2.4 million, but a lot of that, and I think I mentioned this in the last meeting too, a lot of that can be absorbed because our tax collection rate is really higher than 98.5%, which is what we use for budgeting. And then we're also still trying to cut some other budget categories. So we think we can close that gap. Okay, moving on to the debt service fund. These estimates have included the bond sale that we just had and the principal and interest related to that, as well as the remarketing that will occur on August 15th of the 2014 variable rate bonds. So all of our revenue sources total a little over $69 million, with $52 million of that being property taxes, and $550,000 being delinquent property taxes relating to INS. We're going to use $10.7 million in interest earnings on bond proceeds, interest earnings on debt service money, and capitalized interest from previous bond sales. We'll be dipping into the fund balance reserve in the debt service fund, which that's previous money that was committed to this purpose, of right at $1.9 million, and the $3.13 million is the transfer from the general fund that I talked about earlier, and then we have hold harmless funds from the state of $1.71 million. Our principal and interest is right at $69 million, and then the rest of that budget is for paying agent fees. The current year tax rate is 35 cents. The proposed one for this next year is 33 cents per 100. Okay, here's our tax rate history. Pretty flat for a while. It's going to be less. Let's see if I can turn my page here. God, I'm having a hard time with my page turning. Okay, the two-part tax rate, as we talked about before, is M&O and INS, with $1.06 flat rate being for the M&O piece, and then 33 cents for the interest and sinking. We've done our truth in taxation calculations, which we'll publish in the paper. The effective rate is a little over $1.38, and our rollback rate this year is $1.42. We're looking at two requirements for tonight, and that's to vote on the date that we'll discuss and adopt a budget, and also to decide on a tax rate that we will publish in that notice. Couple quick things about the Child Nutrition Fund. It is still a balanced fund at $14.67 million. These slides are about the same as, or they actually are the same as they were in the last meeting, so there's no change there. So at this point, we are asking you to approve August 16th as the date to discuss and potentially approve the budget. And then also the $1.39 flat tax rate with a $1.06 M&O and 33 cents INS. And that's
questions from the board?
I think I asked this last time. So that we can only do this for a year as far as taking from one to the other. I guess this is two questions. One, does that change our INS and what we're paying and all of our debt at all?
No.
It doesn't touch that at all. And then my second question is, what happens in a year?
Well, we, of course, we're going to have campuses opening and a lot of analysis. That's the short answer. A lot of analysis.
And the legislature's going to be in session, so who knows?
Yes, and I was going to say there's going to be a lot of what ifs when the legislature meets. Again, when I spoke with our chief appraiser this afternoon, I asked what he thought about this next year, and he does think things will rebound somewhat. And I asked him point blank if we're going to hopefully be back to the 6% increase range, and he felt like that was a good estimate, but
we start
knows?
the process early on in the analysis of what it's going to look like by the time we get to the budget year. We try to make sure that if things don't pan out quite the way that we are expecting, there are some steps that we can take to make sure that we don't get in a deficit role.
How soon is that prior to this? A few months? 6 months? 3 months?
Yes.
Typically the first of the year is when we really start cranking it down as far as looking at personnel, because we don't want to go out and hire staff. That's correct.
I'm going to provide some additional reports this year so that we can monitor and track where we are for 18-19 as well as project 19-20.
Well, and I'm asking because I feel like we need to be very well aware of everything. We need to be really conscious.
It's going to be conscious is a good word. We're going to have to be very conscious of what we do in 18-19 as well as, get ready for 19-20. So it's going to be tight, and we're going to have to look at a lot.
Well, you still look beautiful even after giving those buttons.
Thank you. Does the growth of all the building that's going on, I drove out there to see where Carter Elementary, and it's just amazing what those subdivisions are like being planted and growing. And I know, and they're all sold. So.
I know. It floored 3.65 floored me. But the other districts are experiencing the same thing.
So this is across the board.
37 million is what we lost in the reappraisal. Almost 38, I think.
Did you say 37 million?
Mm-hmm. And that was that's $500,000. That translates to about $525,000 in taxes.
I have one last question. Did you say that because our tax revenue decreased, the state aid decreased as well?
It did. You have Tier 1 funding, which is all your regular program plus your special ed, comp ed, all the different programs. And then you have Tier 2 funds that come from tax effort and the equalization process. And depending on what your tax rate is, you have several different equalization amounts and calculations, and we're eligible for, at $1.06, we're eligible for two of them, because $1.04 is the first level, and then the next couple pennies, and then there's another 17 cents that we're not, 13 cents, sorry, another 13 cents that we're not taking advantage of right now, because you'd have to have an election for it.
Right. Okay.
But yes, when your tax effort decreases, all the upper tier money decreases as well.
That just doesn't make sense.
Well, and the other funny thing about this, since we've never been a recapture district, when you run the formula with the 1.06005, just making the swap of the 2 cents, we ended up being in a recapture situation where we were actually going to pay back $500,000 of recapture. So we're going to a flat $1.06 now.
So when they kick us when we're really down.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I kept looking at it, and I went through all the calculations, and I thought, oh my God, it has to be that 005, and sure enough, took that off, and the recapture went away. And so anyway, I've confirmed it with some of the people in Austin, and that's true. Wow. As soon as you go above $1.06, even if it's just 0.005. So
I have
anyway,
a question
that's that.
then. Okay, you're saying this is for 1 year.
Yes.
Okay. Next year, are we going to be in that recapture?
No, no.
Is that-
Because we'll be back down at $1.04.
It's only because we went up 2 cents.
Okay, so we're just taking advantage of the 2 cents this year.
Yep.
It'll drop us back down.
Yes, and the recapture piece had to do with being over $1.06.
Okay. I'm concerned about that for the next 2-3 years.
As long as we keep growing.
Well,
At the rate we are.
until our property wealth per student gets above, I think it's 519,000 or so, we shouldn't have to pay recapture unless we go above $1.06.
So you don't.
The only time
that'll
that we
take us a
would
while
get
to
into
get
a
there.
situation where we would have some challenges is that if our enrollment started to decrease and values increase, but our enrollment continues to increase, and that basically keeps us under the recapture mode.
Because they don't
Exactly.
want us having too much money for the kids.
Keep the kids coming.
Yes.
Okay.
Without it costing anything.
There you go.
Yeah, really.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
We know she's had some sleepless nights.
All right, at this
So do we
point in
need a
time,
motion?
I need a motion to approve the date of the public meeting to discuss the budget and tax rate of August 16th of 2018.
I'll make the motion.
Need a second to that motion, please?
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Thank you. I need a motion to approve the proposed tax rate that will be published in the notice for the public meeting. That will be an M&O of 1.06000, INS of 0.33, for a total of $1.39.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second to that?
I'll second.
Further discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. We have an addendum that was on at your place. This is for the approval of classroom intruder latch bolt equipment install and retrofit, the amount of $390,985.72. Do I have a motion to approve that retrofit?
I'll make a motion to approve the retrofit.
Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? There are none. Thank you. Last action item is the approval of purchase agreement with ISI Commercial Refrigeration, LLC, for the George Junior High School food service renovation, in the amount of $190,967.40. Do I have a motion to approve that, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second to that?
I'll second.
Any questions, comments, discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. That completes our action items. We have no items for closed session this evening. So unless there's something else further from the board, this meeting stands adjourned at 7:14.
Are we going to discuss anything about putting anything on the agenda, or do we not need to do that? Okay. Okay. Thank you. That just was a question.
Meeting stands adjourned. We're still adjourned at 7:14.
7:14. We're still 7:14.